Commissioner, great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Commissioner, NBA has built probably one of the most powerful sports brands in the world. Your partnership here with Abu Dhabi has definitely become part of the entertainment and sports story of the region. So when you look at this partnership, I want you to tell me what indicators you track to that probably tell you this is an investment that's paying off, this is a partnership that is correct and right. Is it tourism, merchandise, hotel room? What is it?
Well, I'll begin with the word that you're using, partnership. And I think sometimes when you have great partnerships, like great relationships, there's not always a quantifiable numeric measure. Like a relationship, if somebody asks you about a relationship, you can't necessarily say, well, it's measured in revenue or it's measured in some numeric way. You say it's a wonderful relationship. There's a fondness there. And I think what we've seen here in Abu Dhabi, and I give so much credit to the DCT here, that they embrace this partnership as they've embraced so many of the great brands in the world. I think we're in the company of whether it's the Louvre or the Guggenheim, or now with Disney coming here, with Warner Brothers, Formula One, all these great brands in here that are in this market. I think the reason we're all here is because of the acceptance we see when we come. I mean, yes, we're a business, so we do look at certain metrics in terms of ability to sell tickets at these games, the ability to create youth programs as we have here, and merchandise and other things. But I think more importantly, because we see this as a long-term investment, it's more measured just as almost as an emotional sense of, are we feeling when we come to the market the kind of energy we're used to? And as you and I were talking about a minute ago, you feel it the moment you walk into this arena. I mean, in fact, it's remarkable to me as I travel the world with the NBA, how similar the feeling can be in an arena in Abu Dhabi as it might be if we were playing a home game with the New York Knicks or the Philadelphia 76ers in their home arena. The fans are so knowledgeable. You come in, that sense of anticipation, even for a preseason game like tonight. So, I mean, that's really how I measure. It's not as if we go back to the office and we're able to say an 8 here and a 9 here and a 6 here. It's more about the relationships, because I think one thing we have in common with the leaders of Abu Dhabi is we both have a very long-term perspective. Yes. We're fortunate, the NBA, we're not a public company that has to look quarter to quarter. We have...
And the passion.
The passion, and we have team owners. For example, Jim Dolan, the principal owner of the New York Knicks, is here in Abu Dhabi. He's doing other things. He wants to build a sphere, like he has in Las Vegas, as a unique entertainment option. And so he sees the opportunity here. And it's the fact that we all feel while we're here that we have these very special relationships. So that's really how we measure it.
And you've hinted many times that there is more to come from this partnership. Give us a sense of what's next for Abu Dhabi and the NBA here.
I think what's next is we now have come to see Abu Dhabi as the hub for the greater region. We will be doing things in other markets as well, but back to that partnership concept, we know how special these relationships are here. And what we're seeing in Abu Dhabi is a conversion of great brands, sport, and technology. I think, and technology has been part and parcel of the growth of the NBA, whether it's through social media, the way we can now reach fans globally that we couldn't when I first came to the league, the streaming of our games, or now the way AI will transform the NBA in the same way it's transforming every other business. And I think here, as Abu Dhabi being a hub for technology, what we've been discussing on this trip is how we can come together around technology, use Abu Dhabi as a hub, not just for the games here in the region, but really globally as we look to continue developing the NBA and the WNBA. What will technology mean for the future? And I'll just add, in addition, in terms of youth academies here. I mean, they have a great U.S. university here in NYU with an Abu Dhabi campus. So you have a great academic institution here and others as well. You have the NBA with a regular presence here. We have our junior NBA and junior WNBA programs. How can we bring that all together so that we're attracting not just the best talent here in the market, but the best talent in the region, and to train these young people for the future, and maybe, who knows, to become NBA or WNBA players one day.
Okay, so two things I would like to follow up on. The junior NBA program that actually exploded, 120 teams. What's your vision? What is your 5 years vision for that? And do you really think that we will see players from here playing probably or reaching the NCAA or even the G League, for example?
Well, I'd even go further to the NBA or WNBA. I was over at the NYU gym today where we had the best of our junior NBA and junior WNBA program. And I don't consider myself a professional scout, but I've watched a lot of basketball over the years, and it was amazing to see these young people in the gym. And so, yes, whether it's, NCAA basketball, maybe G League, but I certainly want these young people to dream big, not just here in Abu Dhabi, but in the entire region. And to think that if they have those special skills and they're willing to work hard, that they have as great an opportunity as a player who's growing up in the United States to ultimately play in the NBA. And again, we now have, getting close to a third of our players are coming from outside of the United States. But and specifically for the youth programs, I think it's to continue to get more young people to participate, but also use the game to teach broader values. I mean, we recognize that most young people, or virtually all young people who play in our junior programs, will not play basketball at a professional level. But we want them to learn the values of the game, respect, hard work, discipline, the teamwork. These are universal values for young people.
Life lessons.
Life
Very
lessons.
Important, yes.
And it's not just then the play on the floor, but also they learn about stress. They learn that you don't always win, how you deal with failure, what happens when you lose, how you bounce back from that, how you treat a teammate, how you overcome obstacles. I mean, there's really
so a need for that.
There's nothing else like it in the world, I think. I mean, it's not, and this isn't just unique to basketball, but the encouragement of young people to be involved in sport, for their parents to see the benefits, the whole mind-body benefits to participating, how to learn to breathe properly when you're stressed, the importance of nutrition, the importance.
I need to learn that.
Me too. The importance of sleep, all those things. Like what else? What other platform is there from sports? And look, I mean, there's the great things that come from social media. And from the availability of all this great content, your show, of course, included. But we also want young people to put down their devices. And one way to get them put down their devices is to put a basketball in their hands and to go be at a basketball clinic.
I could not agree more, sir. I could not agree more. I'm going to go back to the partnership with Abu Dhabi. And you said, how much you have in common and how great is this partnership. And my question is, we've seen cities like Paris or Mexico City move from pre-season to regular season. What it takes for Abu Dhabi to make that leap? Not only that, maybe even host the UAE or the Emirates NBA Cup.
I have a very succinct answer for you. Faster planes. I mean, part of it, honestly, is that I had a beautiful trip over on Emirates, my partner airline, but it's a very long flight. And during our season, when it's so condensed and we are squeezing in 82 games, it's a bit of, there's still some difficulty in getting over to Europe, but I think the longer flight here, it makes it a bit impractical. It's not impossible. I think if we were going to play regular season games this far away from the U.S., we'd need to rethink our season and maybe have some additional breaks. So it's not out of the question. I will say one of the advantages to doing a preseason game is think of these two teams here. If it were the regular season, they would fly into town, they would practice, they would go to their hotel, they'd have a meal, they'd wake up, practice, play, and go home. Because they'd have to get back to their regular season schedule. When we play preseason, they're here, they experience the city, they go to wonderful sites of seeing a mosque and, and visiting the Abrahamic Family Center. They see cultural, distinctive things that they would never have experienced if they were in the United States.
Theme parks.
Theme park, museums. I mean, amazing. All those shopping, all those opportunities here. So I think at this stage in our development, to play preseason games seems to check those boxes. But I recognize as the market becomes more sophisticated about their knowledge of the game over time.
And you're expanding globally.
Yeah, but over time, and I mean, one thing we've talked about in Europe, can the cup competition during the season, can you bring in clubs from other places in the world? Can we potentially move that competition elsewhere? I think as the world is changing so much, this is the 80th anniversary of the NBA. We have to be willing to rethink some of the way we've done things.
And if there's one thing about NBA, sir, is it's evolving over time. So it's not the same in 1950 what the NBA is today. So it's completely different, and the business around it is also evolving. And because it's not all about the games, it's also about the ecosystem that forms around it. It's important for me also to discuss with you the tickets. They're premium. While we totally understand that you need to find the right balance between being financially successful, but also keep those beautiful live shows accessible to junior fans.
It's a great point, and I hopefully we found that right balance. But when you're only playing, 2 games every year, in some cases 1 game in a market, it's not always easy to know where that balance is. But these games for us are investments in the market. We don't make money by having one-off games or 2 games in a market. It's more to develop. And part of the issue is that if you sell tickets below market, they have a way of getting resold to people who are willing to pay more money. Yeah. On the other hand, if we, with youth groups, with junior NBA and junior WNBA, bring them directly to games, provide special sections for young people. So we try to find that balance. We recognize, though, that from the experience that we bring, only so many people are going to be able to experience it. And it's a very small number relative to the people who can experience our game through social media or, through your show or watching games on TV.
There's a number that I would like to share with you. In the Middle East, sports industry is projected to grow by 8.7% by 2026, which is faster than the global average. I know that you are exploring the idea of having a European league, and you're working on it. And I would like to understand how the golf fits into your vision.
But it fits in our vision in a few ways. I mean, first of all, in terms of the Gulf region, many of the funds in the Gulf region, many of the governments are direct investors in many of the European soccer teams right now. And we've had discussions here in Abu Dhabi and elsewhere about some of these same investors in sports potentially investing in basketball as well, both at a team level, maybe at a league level, even in terms of arena infrastructure. I mean, if you look at what the success of Manchester City, including a beautiful state-of-the-art arena in Manchester. So, I mean, those are things we're all looking at. I think then also, if we were able to successfully launch a league in Europe, I think because of proximity to the Gulf, we discussed earlier, time zones that make it more accommodating for people to watch games. I mean, maybe initially in the same way we have a G League in the United States, recognizing that talent is not at the level, certainly of the United States or Europe for that matter right now, but to start developing, satellite organizations, start creating direct connections to teams in Europe, teams in the United States. I mean, it's a global game. And I think that, you said it earlier, I mean, the NBA brand is globally known. It means something more than just sport. It's a brand that has cultural resonance. It's a brand that comes with music and fashion and entertainment. And I think we can bring that NBA brand on a broader scale to the Gulf and connect it directly, potentially, to European opportunities.
And you're bringing also financial institutions to work with you. JP Morgan, Chase is actually, and other players for that matter, step deeper into basketball, whether advising or working on partnerships. How do you see that? What's your take on it? How will it probably shape the next 10 years for the NBA?
Well, so JP Morgan and then a more boutique firm called Rain are also working on this opportunity for us. And I think it's a sign, as you said earlier, of the economic opportunities in sport that, you know, some of the most significant banks in the world, like JP Morgan Chase, like Jamie Dimon directly, who I've talked to about this opportunity, are saying, you know, we see enormous opportunity here. We see an opportunity to partner with you on this growth opportunity. And I think for the kinds of investors that might be looking at these opportunities, they're used to dealing with JP Morgan. They're used to dealing with Rain. They speak the same language. The opportunities are presented in a way with a certain business sophistication. I mean, when I first joined the league, these were very small investments. They were almost hobbies, you know, for many of our owners. Now these are huge multi-billion-dollar investments right now in the NBA. I've heard others talk about sports now as an investment class. I mean, this is even for pure financial investors. Major funds now ask how much weight in the fund is behind sports. You never would hear that only a few years ago, and especially with a very diverse portfolios. You look at the value that's been created in sports. So
especially with the growth rate.
Exactly. So that's why you have, you know, again, JP Morgan very interested, and us interested in partnering with them, because we need that financial sophistication as well, as we're discussing these opportunities with potential partners.
Being part of the portfolio of big players. Commissioner, if you were sitting here 10 years from now, what do you think would be the NBA's biggest growth story? New markets, new media, or new game formats?
Am I allowed to say all of the above? Well, I think that, yes, new markets. I think that as we're looking at that European opportunity, if we were sitting here in 10 years, I would love to think that we will have successfully launched a new league in Europe. You know, a mixture of existing traditions there, maybe promotion, relegation, maybe a mixture of some of the existing clubs and some new clubs that would come as well. In terms of new formats, I'm very excited about what technology is bringing to sport. And I think that both as a combination of how the games are produced and delivered to fans. Maybe discovery right now is a huge issue for a lot of fans. They may know a game is on, there's many different streaming services, where do I find it? I think the game engagement itself, finding new ways to make it more relevant to people to watch games live, I think that will become increasingly important. So if you look now at what's happening in sports, especially from a programming standpoint, and think of the popularity of your show, sports is increasingly separating itself from other forms of programming because people love to engage something that's live. And then, like, my view is sometimes I think, how can we make it even more alive, you know, with more optionality for a fan, more decisions that they can make, that I want to follow this particular player, I want to hear a different language, or I want to hear a different approach. I'm more of a casual fan, I want to hear a more lighthearted commentary, or I really want to have a better understanding of the rules. Click, then I can hear that, and I want to shop. I want to buy those shoes, or I want to buy the outfit that the player was wearing pregame. I just think there's unlimited opportunities now, and technology is only advancing these opportunities at an incredibly rapid rate.
Commissioner, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.